Jin can be extremely annoying. From his suffocating Zen stance, to his crouch dash pressure, to all of the strings that he has at his disposal. It might feel like it's literally never your turn with this character. But what if I told you that there was a way to consistently and correctly beat out his Zen stance and counter his annoying strings? Even if you execute what I teach you in this video today 50% of the time, you will increase your consistency of winning against this character so much you'll wonder why you even struggled with him in the first place. Let's get started. So first things first when it comes to learning how to counter Jin, the most important thing that you need to learn is understanding Jin's Zen stance and his crouch dash stance, which is his two stances that he has. I've seen a lot of people get switched up between these two moves thinking that they're different stances when in reality they're the same. If we do forward 3+4, which is this stance, and do 4, we get the flying kick. If we do back 3+4 and 4 as well, we also get the flying kick. It's the exact same stance movements from it. Both stances you can go to crouch dash afterwards, and both have access to the exact same moves. Another important thing to mention is when he's transferring from any of his Zen stances into crouch dash, you'll notice that his eyes glow. If Jin is ever doing any sort of crouch dash and his eyes are glowing, that means that it has frame perfect timing, even if you aren't doing a frame perfect timing. For instance, if I'm holding forward 4 and I go to Zen stance, and from Zen stance I transfer into electric, no matter how much I mash it, I'm always going to get the electric. You will never get the Wind Godfist input when his eyes are glowing. Same thing can do with CD1 as well. You will get the electric perfect input. This is important to know for two different reasons. One, it's really important to know because it's good to know what the Jin can do in different instances, and also, if a Jin is not very experienced, obviously they're going to want to take just about any chance they can get to get perfect electrics. I'll talk more about setups here in a little bit, I just wanted to mention that for now, just so you are aware of what he can do from those stances. Okay, so we went ahead and talked about the difference between Zen stance and the crouch dash stance, how they can be used and how he can enter them. Now I'm going to very simply break down Zen stance for you. I'm not really going to cover all of the moves because there's not really, you don't need to know them, honestly. I've re-recorded this video twice now because I've thought about how I need to explain it and if I should tell you guys about the moves, but I've decided that it's really not important, and if you want to learn all of the moves, you can break them down. There's only about 8 or so options that he can do for Zen stance, but the reason why they aren't important is because I'm not even joking, every single one can be beat by down forward 1. Every single one, I'm not joking. I'll go ahead and give you an example right here. Obviously, if it's just raw, this will change for a couple of things. However, the majority of Zen stance for Jin is going to be 20 frames plus, and the couple of moves that aren't 20 frames have a couple of nuanced things that you can beat still. As we can see, Jin will go and do forward 4 into Zen stance, and he'll do his 2, right? You see a lot of Jin players do this, a lot of people do this, but what a lot of people don't realize is you could literally just down forward 1 this here, and hit duck, and it just works. And obviously you can launch still from there and get all of this damage and do yada 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 and everything like that. You can get great damage from it and you can down forward 1 it. The only option he has to stop you from pressing is this move right here. And if your down forward 1 works, you know, you can do it. However, do be warned, this can be any fast, quick mid that has fast recovery time. There are some characters that this does not work for, unfortunately. Kazuya being one of them, and that's why I'm on Dragunov. For Kazuya, unfortunately, the matchup becomes a little harder, and you will have to use a 1-1 to stop him, and it beats all of the options except for one of them. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But just so you know, go ahead and lab this move. If you have a generic down forward 1, like Dragunov or anything, and it's 13, 14 frames, and is like minus, I think, 4 or quicker, it should be okay. But just check. If you are able to do exactly this, do forward 4 into Zen stance, into 2 like this, and if you are able to interrupt with a down forward 1, that is the surefire way of telling you right away you will be able to beat every single option from Jin as long as he enters Zen stance from a block. The only other move that can cause a problem for this is, like I said earlier, Zen up forward 1. This move right here. It's minus 16, so you can get great damage out of it, and there's no real reason, honestly, to do anything other than sit here and take it, because, again, you can still down forward 1 it, and most characters will still be able to float it. However, there will be a couple of characters that will not be able to punish it because of, like I said before, Kazuya, for instance, not having a quick enough mid check, and he has to rely on highs, and up forward 1 does crush highs. So, if you have a mid, always use it. If you don't have it, you should be a little more careful about this move, and if you do not see the Jin using the move, then yeah, you can use 1-1 to your heart's content until you get punished for it. But don't use jabs if you have a good down forward forward 1, and if you don't have a good down forward 1 or quick fast mid, be very wary of this move. That's literally all you need to know about Zen Stance, because outside of him just not pressing anything, which again, you can still use down forward 1, and you're still only like -1, 2, 3, or neutral depending on the character, there's no reason to not use this move after Zen on block. So I wanted to throw in one real quick disclaimer real quick, because I totally forgot about this, and this might trip up a couple of people. Jin does technically have a grab from Zen Stance. It's not multiple options. No matter what, it's always just going to be the 2 break, always. So if you ever see him go into Zen Stance and he grabs you, it will always be a 2 break. However, one thing to note that's really important about this is if your down forward 1 is 14 frames or slower, Feng, Claudio, etc., this move will counter hit you and you will get grabbed by it. Jab still beat it out, and 13 frame down forward 1 still beat it out, but I did want to throw in that disclaimer to where if you do have a 14 frame down forward 1 and you are able to beat out Zen 2, I don't want people to get surprised all of a sudden if you're getting grabbed out of Zen Stance when I said that it beat out pretty much every single option. Change your game plan accordingly. Some people will do this. I don't really see people doing it too often, and if you do get grabbed, again, he can only do a 2 break grab. Now, what if he hits you with forward 4? Well, the thing about forward 4 is it's -11 for you or +11 for him, meaning that it doesn't matter if you get hit, there's nothing that you can do in the first place anyways. So there's not going to be a quick enough move that is going to allow you to interrupt on forward 4 if you get hit. So it's simply, have you blocked forward 4 or have you not blocked forward 4? And that depends on whether or not you press or not. And if you press down forward 1. Even moves like Zen 1+2 is too slow, you'll still be able to get it. Even a jab, you can get it. There is nothing that Zen Stance will be able to do on block that is going to be able to stop you from challenging. This is one of those stances where you just always want to challenge this. Every chance you get, if it is on block, you want to challenge Zen Stance. Obviously, you don't want to challenge something like a down forward 2 every time. However, if they are without a fail every single time eating this down forward 1, about 80% of the moves in Zen Stance are going to get hit by down forward 2 from most of the cast, because there is only one move in this entire stance that is faster. Everything else is slower than down forward 2. So literally everything except for not pressing buttons will even get beat by down forward 2. But of course, to maximize like your potential and your pressure, there's no reason to throw down forward 2 if he might stop Zen Stance and block it. If he's not blocking, he's just throwing, just hit him with down forward 2, slap his bitch ass for being stupid. Outside of up forward 1 and outside of everything else, really, it's just either down forward 1 if it's on block, don't press on hit, and if they're mashing, send their ass to the moon with a down forward 2. The final thing that I want to cover when talking about stances with Jin is his crouch dash stance, and there really isn't too much to be afraid of here. A lot of people don't know this, but Jin's hell sweep is actually one of the only hell sweeps in the game that's actually seeable. It's very, very hard to react to at 21 frames. It says it comes out at 20, but I'm pretty sure it's closer to like 21 frames. But it's the very unique animation that gives it the ability to react to it, because there's no other move that he has in this stance that comes even remotely close to sticking his leg out like that and getting really low to the ground. Everything else comes out either too quick or has no animation similar like this at all. So while it might be hard and it might seem impossible, I would go into the lab and try and react to Hell Sweep and see if you can get down reacting to it. A couple of tips that I can give is obviously looking directly at the character Jin when he is wave dashing at you is going to be the best thing, and look for his right foot. Whenever Jin start wave dashing in my face, I only look at that right foot in the background over there, and the second that that raises over there, that's when I look to block low, because it's the only kick that comes out with that foot, and it's the only low. So the second he moves that foot, we know instantly that he's going to be going for a hell sweep. Outside of that, the only low option that Jin has when wave dashing in your face, outside of stopping wave dashing and doing something else, is a full crouch down forward 4, which is also even more seeable than his hell sweep itself, and uses the exact same foot, so it's very easy to see. I'd go into practice mode and practice 2 or 3 wave dashes into a hell sweep and 2 or 3 wave dashes into full crouch down forward 4 and just try and react to those. Very rarely do I see people using full crouch down forward 4, but it is there and it is an option that can happen. So if you don't see it very often and you feel the need to not practice it, that's totally okay, because again, it's extremely slow, very reactable, and is not used as often as you think it'd be. Outside of that, the really only other thing you need to watch out for is if he tries to go into Zen stance like this and his eyes glow red. I talked about this earlier and I said it was going to talk about it. Whenever his eyes glow red, he will get the perfect input for both CD1 and CD2, or his electric. And a lot of lower skilled Jin players will use this as a opportunity to use electric if they haven't been able to hit their electric ever, or they're not consistent with an electric. So if you notice that they keep going into the crouch dash afterwards and trying to electric, the good chances are they're going to keep doing it, and you can just duck the electric every time they go for that. So we've went ahead and covered the stances with Jin and made it pretty easy to break down how you should counter all of them. These next ones I'm going to cover a lot of the general moves that I feel a lot of Jins use and are the most important when trying to learn how to punish these. I left out some of the easier ones because there are some moves that are just insanely negative on block that should just be punished no matter what, but this is more to cover the ground basis of what Jins are using in neutral and how to stop him from gaining the advantage in neutral. First things first, the most important move that I always tell people they need to react to is down 2. It is seeable and it is reactable because of the very specific unique animation and the sound he makes. And with it being -14 as well, it's a great easy launch punish that you will be able to get almost every time you play against a Jin because they always throw this move out. This is, if anything else, if you don't learn anything else, learning to be able to punish this move will literally increase your win rate, I'm not even joking, by like half. So many Jins use this move and don't realize that people can react to it, so even when you react to it and punish it, they'll just think that it was just a fluke and will continue to keep using it, which in turn, you can continue to take away half of their health bar for completely free. The next two moves I'm going to cover both at the same time because they're pretty much the same thing, is 1-2-3 and 1-2-4. Now, the reason as to why I'm covering both of these at the same time is because 1-2-4 comes out significantly quicker than 1-2-3. Because of this, it allows us to fuzzy duck. And if you've never heard of fuzzy ducking, all you need to know, quickest fuzzy duck explanation, it's one string that deviates on two different paths, and one of those options is quicker than the other. So you can solve both of the options by either ducking or sidestepping very quickly and beating out both of them. For this example, as you can see, I will just sit here and take the 1-2 and duck every single time, and I'll be able to duck the 4 and block the 3 every single time, even while I'm sitting here talking and explaining, well, except for that. It's a little harder than a couple of the other ones I'll show here in a little bit, but it is still very possible. And if you want to absolutely maximize the gain that you get from Jin, learning to punish these two moves is going to be absolutely key. Before hopping into ranked as well, doing these to warm up is honestly a great idea as well. And while this isn't a full fuzzy duck tutorial, I will say that when you're getting hit, make sure to be holding back and transition to down back, because if you just try and hold like back like that, you will sidestep and it will beat out 3, but it will not beat out 4 and you'll get hit by it. So accidental sidesteps can happen and you just have to be careful to make sure you're going to that down back position. Now I'm going to be covering down forward 1-4 and down forward 1-4-4. This one I find even easier than the 1-2-3 and 1-2-4 extensions. It's the exact same thing that we learned about before, just a little easier. You do have to react a little quicker because there's only one hit of the down forward 1 instead of 2 hits of the 1-2. So you do have to be a little quicker, but there's a lot more time in between 4 and 4-4, so it's a little easier to react to. Reacting to these, though, is again going to be amazing for getting great damage, and all you need to do is hit it once or twice in a round to get half their health bar done. So even if you're getting a 50 to 60% success rate hitting these moves and ducking them, a 50 to 60% success rate between all of these means there's a 50 to 60% chance that if he throws any of these out, you will just absolutely demolish half of his health bar. And that is a trade that is absolutely being favored in your favor. Next up on the list is an even easier one to react to, and that's 2-1-4 and 2-1-4-4. This is another one of those moves very similar to down 2 that if you're not really used to ducking and punishing moves, you definitely want to learn this one before anything else because you get a stagger punish on it and huge damage on this punish. I see a lot of low-ranked Jins will use this move as well, and sometimes I even see it up in higher ranks as well, so this is definitely something to throw in your repertoire to stop a Jin from trying to knowledge check you. For the final string that's extremely important to learn is Jin's 1-3-4, and this is by far one of my least favorite moves by him because of how difficult it is to punish. You see, outside of the fact that it does a bunch of damage and counter hits as well, even though it's -13 as you can see for him, I cannot punish this no matter how close I am with a launch punish. I can get my normal punish, but for some reason, with Kazuya especially, the 13 frame, it just pushes back too far. This shouldn't be a problem if you have a long-reaching punish. However, it is worth labbing your punishes to figure out what can happen, because you don't want to get caught in a last-hit situation where you try to punish this string and end up losing the game because it whiffs. The good thing, though, outside of all of those weird hit properties, you can get hit by the first 2 hits and still block the last one, which is the most important. Obviously, if you get counter hit, you won't be able to, so don't press on this string. Just get hit by the first 1 or 2, or duck whenever you think you can, and punish the last part of the string, because you'll still get more damage than he will. And wrapping up that move, that'll wrap up the entire guide for anti-Jin. Let me know down below in the comments if this video helped you guys out and if you learned anything new. And if there's something that I left out that you felt was really important, leave it down below for anybody else who's watching the video so they can learn as well. I made this video because I had somebody in my comment section ask me about anti-Jin stuff, and I thought it'd be a good video to share with you guys, and so I could give more information to the person who commented originally, and anybody else who might need it. If you have any other video ideas, comment down below, and I might choose yours for the next video. Thank you guys again so much for the support. Like I said, I really appreciate it, and as always, I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much. Bye.